Guys, Dave Man Maxick back at the Mecca with my good friend Mike and the Quad God. How's it going, you guys?
What's up?
Good, Dave.
I just wanted to do a little update. Since last time we had Mike training just about a week, I think, or so before the North American. So I just want to I didn't want to leave the fan hanging and say, what the hell happened, Mike? Tell me about the show. Were you happy?
It was some good and some bad.
All right, let's start with the good.
The good was I took second in the Masters.
Nice.
And, that was one place less than I was hoping for, but overall not too bad. In Open, though, I did not do well at all. I was out of the top 10. And
Oh, you did both classes? I didn't know that. Okay.
yeah, I did both. And I thought that, the judges must have overlooked me, but then I went back and looked at the pictures, tried to be objective and critically analyze them, and I think that I was off. I think that I was so focused on coming in big and full and round. I weighed in right at 176, so I was at the very top of the class, that I was not as conditioned and as hard as I should have been.
Oh, really?
And it's weird that you can be in this sport for 20 some years and still make a mistake on that, where you're looking in the mirror and you're analyzing your physique leading up to the show, and you're like, okay, I'm good, I'm right where I need to be.
You look good.
And you're really not.
Wow.
You're just looking at you in the mirror and you're thinking, am I full enough? Am I big enough? Am I round enough? And I was. I mean, I was definitely one of the biggest guys in the class, but my conditioning was a little bit off. I wasn't as hard and as dry as I needed to be. And I probably would have been better off coming in at like 173, maybe 172. But I was 76 exactly, and it was a little too heavy, and I wasn't hard enough.
What did you think about that, Justin? Because we saw him pose just a few days before the show, and I mean, it looked good to me. But do you think it's because you had no one to compare it to, or what did you think about him
Everybody
going through the
looks
show?
great when they're standing by themselves.
Yeah,
I know, right?
It's just so hard to tell because we're just talking about a few pounds. But
Yeah.
on stage, that few pounds means everything. In person, it's a lot harder to really tell. And
Yeah.
plus, when we train at different times of the day, it's hard
Yeah.
to tell. I mean, it's one thing to look at someone first thing in the morning and then also through the day. But like I said, we're talking about a few pounds, and it could have been drier water weight or
Yeah,
just
right.
a little more conditioned. But it's just a few pounds. That's hard to do. But on stage, that's what bumps you up.
Yeah.
Those top places.
Well, let me ask you this, Mike. Since you competed in two different classes, did you feel like you looked better in the Master than you did in the Open? Did it change between the time you competed in the Master and the Open, or no, it was the same?
There was probably an hour, maybe an hour and a half.
Oh, okay.
In between the prejudging from the Open to the Masters. We actually did the Open first, which
Okay.
is different than how it usually goes, like at a local or regional show or
Yeah.
a state level show. But I think I looked about the same.
Okay.
Maybe just from a little bit of extra pumping up and squeezing backstage, I was maybe a little bit tighter for the Masters.
Okay.
But there was some wonky judging going on too, because I know I beat 2 or 3 guys in the Masters that had beat me an hour earlier in the Open.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
And there was another guy who competed from here, and he lost to 5 guys in the Masters that he had placed ahead of in the Open. So I think there was different judging panels in between.
Okay.
They switched judging panels by time they got to the Master, and there was some huge differences in the results. So
Okay.
I mean, that's
It's
the
hard
thing with
to
judging. You
judge
see,
yourself too, and it happens like that. Like, where do you think
that's
you
the
really
thing.
stand?
Yeah.
And I think that's why they stopped also at the pro level to have the 212 guys compete in the Open on the same show, because this kind of situation would happen. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And it shouldn't. So.
Yeah.
But
In theory, it shouldn't, but when
Yeah.
you have a sport like bodybuilding that's so subjective,
Yeah.
you're never going to get everyone agreeing on.
everybody else thinks different things look better. So
Of course.
it's hard. Like, a judge can like this, and a judge can like that. And
Right.
that's what-
So what's next for you now, Mike? You're not retire, are you?
No, this year kind of relit the fire
I'm
for
sure.
competing. It was nice to get back on stage this year and be up there. So I'm going to take a couple months off. I have been dieting since February for
Yeah.
all intents and purposes. So it's nice now just to relax for a couple of months and
For the
you know,
holidays.
Yeah, kind of wind down a little bit and crank it up again January 2nd. And I'd like to do the same show again next year, the North
Okay.
America, and hopefully
Get the pro
things.
card.
I mean, next year, I'm 49 now, so next year I can do the 50 and overs. So
Yeah.
it's reasonable to think that I could win the 50 and overs. And
Well, you can't close this year, so I don't see why not.
well, this year was the 40s and over, so I was the oldest guy in the fully know the Masters.
Yeah. Yeah, but you don't look your age, so that's okay.
So
We're active, so
no, active for sure. So let's hope that I can make some improvements between this year and next year. Bring up a couple of body parts that I think need to be a little bit better. Come in a little sharper with my conditioning, and hopefully get a little bit better result.
All right, man. Well, I hope you keep us posted.
Thanks,
Quad,
Dave.
got
We
any chance of
appreciate
you going back on stage?
You know, I get
Since
asked
I got
a
you
lot.
here?
I get asked a lot, and if I do it, I just want to try to go in with what I think looks best for
Yeah.
myself. The judging is so subjective, so if I do it, I want to go in with the physique I like and
Yeah.
how I vision it in my head. So I'm
Yeah.
not going to stress about being the biggest guy on stage anymore. That's a tough thing to stress about. So it's going to be really cool if I do ever get ready for something to approach it that way.
Yeah. And
And,
you've been telling me before that since you stopped stressing,
I got bigger, yeah.
and
I
you're in
just sit
shape
around-
all the time,
yeah,
and
it's
yeah.
weird. I just sit around this weight, and food's a lot more relaxed,
Yep.
and training's. I'm starting to have fun again with training, like I did when I was younger.
Nice.
So it's nice to think about competing again and be excited for it, as opposed to feeling like it's
Anxious and
Yeah.
screw that.
So it's cool. Steph just signed up, so for a show 16 weeks from
But
today.
she's gonna lose her butt again.
Well, that's the same thing. We're going in what we think looks good. So she says she's going with big butt,
all right.
some thick legs. So
We like big butts.
big butts and thick legs. So she's gonna go on what she thinks look good. So hopefully the judges agree. So we'll see what
right.
happens.
Thanks for talking to us,
Awesome.
you guys.
Thanks so much, guys.
All right.
Thanks, Dave.